Okay, so let me start the clock. Let's start this lecture. See if this works for me now. So I state that everything goes to the amygdala first. So whatever you've been told about the human brain, it has not been mapped. It has not been fully mapped. What they do is they took many layers of the human brain, and they keep taking layers and layers and layers of it. Okay, so let's grab a different marker. Oh, silver. Okay, I don't even think I tried the silver yet. Looks like I grabbed the wrong set. Oh well, you guys get to wait while I talk to you. So, the brain has been cut into many layers, and to determine how the brain works, they try to see if they can find where one neuron goes from the next neuron. So here are all these layers, right? And then they look from the top to the bottom. So they look from, gotta make sure I stay in the picture. From this, say there's one here, and then they look above, and it should be right there also, on the one below. But what they're finding is it's over here. And so they're missing a layer. So even though they sliced it up 10,000 times, I forget what they're up to now, they still can't get the one-to-one pathway. So then you're stuck with the original science, if you will, of how things work, how the brain works. The amygdala gets regulated, delegated, thrown down to the bottom of the stack as just a primeval thing that just happens to protect you under flight or fight. I state that it does not protect you under, it does not protect you by, it's not primary by checking you by flight. It only knows fight. Let me make sure that's in the image over there to the right. Okay, there we go. So I have to step inside, it looks like also. So it only knows fight. All right, let me zoom out a bit. There we go. So it only knows fight. The amygdala is a fighting dog. It's petty. So it's very petty, right? I talked to you guys about the amygdala being petty. All right. It sees things like the back of my head, and it starts making evaluation. Those are your preconceived ideas or notions. They're biases, and they're confirmation bias is what I call them. They're opinions. Sentiments such as I don't like squash, and so if you try to give me something with squash in it, doesn't matter what it is, I already have a conclusive file that says I don't like squash. It's wrong because someone gave me a squash, played a game on me. They gave me squash like cookies once or whatever it was. They were delicious. I was eating them up like you wouldn't believe, until they got the good giggle and told me it was squash in there. At that point, I could no longer eat them. They weren't tasty anymore. I could taste the squash. But until they told me they were squash, it was the joke was on me. It was interesting. Personal beliefs. Religion can create your conclusive file that gives you your preconceived ideas and notion. About elderly people, you have your preconceived ideas that elderly people are somehow pure and deserve some different respect than the younger people. That's just craziness. By age, you deserve different respect? No. They would require, in my opinion, my conclusive file would maybe need some assistance. But I'm not going to treat you any different because you're older. I'm going to treat you just as hard as I treat anyone else. And I'll assist you as much as I can. Or whatever, or what are, okay, elderly people, or what our tells us, or what our tells us is must be. Elder people, or what are, so what are, let's say controllers, right? Tell us what it must be. Controllers are, oh, I'm going too low now, I forgot. These will be controllers. Controllers of the amygdala conclusive files. So controllers of the conclusive files are who, Kermit? That's your mainstream media. That's what else? That's Google, right? Because they're monitoring it. It's Twitter. It's all the social medias. I don't know if I remember SM. I don't have the conclusive file yet on there. So this social media. So I might have to do to help me remember what I wrote. So social media. These are controllers of conclusive files. All right, they tell you what a conclusive file is, and you must obey, or they will delete your content because you're contrary to what the conclusive files that they want to get out there. Let's talk about the amygdala. So the amygdala gets it first. I talked to you guys about the cars. One of my favorite examples is road rage. The amygdala takes over. It gets it first, and it takes over first. It takes over whatever's going on first. So initially, everything's just data. It means nothing. So it's just data. So I tell you, roadway, blue car. Well, blue's not working. Let's change cars. Red car. Gray car. I don't know if you can see that gray as well. Let's see if we can get this blue working a little bit. Let's see if we can get it. It needs to come out to the end of the ink. Now you might have a conclusive file that this triggers you that I don't have the blue ink working. I had a different set here. Where is that set? Oh, there it is. That's his tail. That was Bruce. Bruce has a conclusive file. Bruce has a conclusive file that everybody must see him. No matter what position he's in, you must magically see him, that there's no way you cannot see him. So he needs that accidents to happen so he can make a new conclusive file that says, oh, I gotta be careful, I gotta run. George is smart. George, if you come near him, he's like, you might step on me. George jets. The gray cat jets. Bruce is like, no, you see me, I got a conclusive file, you're gonna step over me. That's how it works with animals also. You just heard it. That was not done on purpose. That was an accident. It pissed me off also because I have a conclusive file that Bruce needs to move the hell out of the way and stop that. I keep telling everyone, stop walking around Bruce. Make him move out of the way. So when I come to Bruce, I use my foot and push him a little bit, showing that these feet don't know where you are sometimes. Sometimes you're carrying something. You can't see Bruce. So he gets stepped on about once every, I don't know, he doesn't seem to learn that lesson. His conclusive file is that you must see him. You must see him. Now, after he gets stepped on a few times, he's going to change, that conclusive file will change, I would think. But it's so far and infrequent, the stepping on him, that he just calls it a one-off. Just a mistake, no big deal. No big deal. It's not going to happen again. So you just heard it. Now that made a conclusive file. I hope that Bruce knows that, all right, if I turn towards him, he's going to have to move. Again, George and the gray cat, and even the shadow moves out of the way. Bruce drives me crazy with that. Okay. So then we got a purple car. But he didn't scratch me. He just screamed. So he was just letting me know, hey, you're on me, dude. All right, so I make a conclusive file that Bruce knew that he wasn't being attacked. So he just screamed out in pain, if you will, saying, hell, yo, change your pressure. He didn't attack me. He doesn't have a conclusive file that I can attack the owner, meaning me, if you will. So he doesn't have one that says that I'm fair game. So, yeah, I'll give him some loving, but I can't give it to him now. That will reinforce the stepping on him. I can't do that. I can't give him that reinforcement. It'll create a conflicting file. You can't discipline your kid and at the same time take them out for ice cream, right? So you can't. You'll teach them that if they act up, they'll get disciplined, but they also get ice cream. So I gotta let it ride, and live with it. Okay, so the amygdala is first, and I talk about the car. So here's our car. This is you in the car. This is the this is the car in front. This is the, hopefully I got yellow. This is the, whatever color this is, green, whatever color that is. So this is the car that puts on its turn signal. The problem is you created a space in front of you. This space was created by you maintaining a speed that did that. And that space is called our cushion, right? Our cushion. You created that cushion. It's a safety cushion. Here's the thing. You maintain the speed to create that safety cushion. The amygdala protects everything we own. Let me make sure the amygdala is in there. That I walked around, I didn't knock it off the board. All right, that's the amygdala. So the amygdala protects everything we own. Any conclusive file is protected. So, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Or does it equal 44? All right, that might trigger some of you. You're like, no, man, you said 2 plus 2. Which one does it equal? Somebody wants to troll would say it's 44, but it's 2 plus 2. So the amygdala protects anything. So if someone was to call it 5, you would first evaluate whether they really are, the coconut's working right. And if it is working right, you'll say, oh, how long have you thought, you'll start to try to get data to evaluate why they think it's 2 plus 2, and you might turn out that they're just whacked. But 2 plus 2 equals 4 all around the world, right? It's math. It equals that much. So the amygdala protects everything we own. So we even own anything we own. Everything. Own anything, and everything. So anything we own. So I would give my life trying to protect Bruce and George, right? It's not like somebody pulls a gun and they point at the cat, and I'm gonna go, don't shoot my cat. I'm gonna get between the cat and make the person now have to shoot me, make a decision differently than just shooting the cat. Now you're gonna kill a human. Let's talk about this. Let's dial it back. Before you can kill that cat, now you're gonna be killing the humans, but I'm gonna protect that cat in my life. Not just because of amygdala, perhaps, but that cat's getting full protection from me because I own that cat. And that cat loves me, I love the cat. They equals. That's why animals, incidentally, are so amazing, because they only give us love all through our life. Whereas humans don't give us love all through our life. We get a lot of pain from them. That's why you miss animals even more. The cushion was created by you, maintaining speed. Once you've made that cushion maintaining speed, it's a conclusive file. That conclusive file is a protected file. And when I say protected, it's protected by the amygdala. The amygdala is a petty bitch and it's primary. It is a primary. This means that it can override and take over the human. It can control the human and override them. It can control the human and override them. I'll prove it to you in numerous ways. This will be one of them. You created that cushion. This turn signal comes on. All of a sudden now, instead of just maintaining that cushion, you may now step on the gas and push your car up the tailgating, this car in front. Because this turn signal came on and they decided they were going to take your cushion. To protect your cushion, you now stepped on the gas pedal and it now tailgating the car in front of you. And it comes out of nowhere, and that's the amygdala. The amygdala saw the turn signal come on, it saw someone's trying to take something it owns. It being a petty bitch and primary, it immediately presses on the gas pedal and protects this spot. Immediately protects the spot. Instead of, some of you may say, oh, well, I'll let him in. Okay, you let him in. Well, then I ask you this. Have you ever brake checked somebody? Somebody run up on behind you and you brake check them? Well, you slam on your brakes to get them to get off your ass? Well, because you also own a cushion behind you. And when someone runs into that cushion, riding your cushion, you might have to brake check them to get them off your cushion. That's the amygdala again, getting pissed, get off my ass. When someone goes speeding past you and you're doing 70 and they're doing 90, you feel attacked. Because 70 is the speed limit, what's entitled them to 90? That's petty again, that's your petty amygdala saying there's a conclusive file and you're being attacked by that person doing 90 miles an hour that's already gone. They're gonna kill somebody, they're gonna do this. It's your amygdala taking over at that point. So everything is just data, right? Just data until you make a conclusive file. So, silver car, red car, purple car means nothing. If I tie silver car, purple car, and green car now, you're like, wait a minute, you said purple. That's how petty you are. I want you to transpose the purple car to the green car. Look at that. You already had a conclusive file that it was supposed to be purple. But I want you to transpose this is this car, the red car is now the purple one. This one is now that one. Clearly I can change the color schedule, can't I? So now you've got to make new conclusive files that changes the color pattern only in this situation to make it work. Or you can do what I do. I just say, okay, I get the intent. So just get to the intent. All right, that's what matters. If you keep focusing on what is your intent, you won't let so many of the preconceived ideas or notions hold you up. This is about psychology and brain physiology made easy is what I'm saying. Everyone's structural problems. This is our brain, and the amygdala is the one that I can control. I can control how people react. I can also make them have no choice but to react back at me. It all depends how you give them the data. Now, a mainstream media, Google, Twitter, social media, they want to control the narrative because, well, they do. And it can be multiple reasons. We don't know the source. We don't really know the source. Is it Susan Jorashberg or whatever her name is, Jewishowicz, whatever her name is? Is it the government paying the mainstream media, Google, Twitter, and social media to control the narrative? Well, it appears so because it was somebody, and we would probably guess Big Pharma, right? Because they're the ones that stand to gain the money. So we're back to the amygdala protects anything you own. So you own when you're in a marriage, you own each other. So that's the marriage, right? You own each other. Sometimes one person doesn't respect that ownership, and then therein lies the problem. Even when you're in a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship, there's some ownership taking place. And sometimes someone might try to interfere with that relationship. You may call it jealousy, but in reality, you have something you own. You had a conclusive file, you own it. If something tries to take it, such as this car, or interfere with something you own, people call it jealousy. That's the amygdala taking over. It will base it on the data it gets. For example, I'll give you data. Phone calls, middle of the night. Phone calls speaking quietly. Phone calls not telling you who was on the other line. What is it? What kind of conclusive file are you making? Right? You're not having relationships in your personal life with the person. What is it starting to sound like? It's starting to sound like your relationship's over with, doesn't it? As you would call it, cheating. And so what do? You look for data to verify it. So then you may do spying into someone's personal stuff, and then they say, oh, that's just nasty, right? You just whatever. Well, that's your amygdala asking for more data. It has a conclusive file, but it's not sure yet. So it says, give me more data. And you go spying to look for the more data. It comes back with, maybe you're right, maybe it was a surprise birthday party. All right, so then you feel really bad. But you're going to go, because the attack is taking place, you're going to do this. Now, I tie this into policing also, and why do a lot of black people run from the police? Well, because they know at the end result, there's a chance they can get shot or killed. I know that might trigger some of you. They are targeted disproportionately more so in policing. So, and that's because, as I said down here, personal beliefs or religion, elder people, or what our controllers tell us must be. So the controllers are the police departments, in this case, saying that, fair game, you can mess with that color skin, if you will. Now, that's government. I'm not saying you're a Joe citizen next door. That's government. And so what happens? The lights come on the police car to pull over the black person. The black person knows that, oh, he already has a conclusive file. This isn't going to end well. They hit the gas pedal instantly. Now, this really happens. And then maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes down the road, they pull over just as calm as can be and stop. And they're very submissive. And this is because initially, it was an attack on their life when they saw when the police lights came on. And the amygdala took over, and it immediately had to put them in a run mode, in a run mode. They ran to protect their life. At some point, down the road, they said, shit, my life's not in danger. I'm just being pulled over for a speeding ticket or something. They pull over. The problem is the cop has data that he's taught that, oh, they must have been getting rid of drugs during that time period. They must have been dumping the drugs, swallowing them, or something like that. Not that this person's they're running because they're fearing for their life. And now they pulled over the calm as can be. But the problem is the cop is already amped up in fight mode. He has a conclusive file now. He's in fight mode. Now I'm much getting ready to fight this person. This person's passive, but they're stuck in fight mode, so they're aggressive, and they do all the abusive behavior they see. They're also stuck in the amygdala mode. This person can't understand it because they now calm down. They don't know why they calmed down and why they pulled over. Besides, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, and they pull over. But this person's still in aggressive mode, and they go into and it escalates to where it escalates to. And that's the amygdala, and that's the true amygdala hijacking. When you don't even know that you've been hijacked. When you don't even know it, and you're doing behaviors that are that can be quite deadly. They can end in a deadly situation. This ties in with everything from medical field. You get data. You make a conclusive file. You run the data again with maybe someone else. Problem is they might have confirmation bias because you told them where you were going with it. You should have just gave them the data. You run the data, they come to the same conclusive file, they say patient needs X. Problem is they didn't have enough data. They proceed with the treatment, the person crashes. They crash and they die. Turns out they needed more data. More data was needed. They learned from it at the autopsy what went wrong. If the autopsy is performed, or they have to shit can it, bury it, pretend like it's a one-off thing. This is not for free. All right, the data you must process all the data, and as it gives you new conclusive files, you must now make it work. You must control your preconceived ideas or notions. That would be the conclusive files, right? Conclusive files are also made as, for clarity, let me check my phone there. I have about 8 minutes left. It's a 30-minute timer. So some preconceived ideas and notions come from elderly, your parents, things like that. Now we all have racism in us, period. It's built in. Every single nationality, the creator or creators made sure that. They made sure we didn't look alike. They made sure we didn't talk alike. We have different triggers that create this problem. So we all have to accept that, period, tough shit. The black person doesn't like the white person doesn't like the black person. They're actually opposing, aren't they? They're two different looks. There's multiple reasons. So now, the opinion, settlement, squash, that might be a trigger for you, what I said. Get over it. This ends where it ends. So spying, I did that. So green. You see this color right here? You can't call this color right here the color green and mean it for the rest of your life, because you have a conclusive file of what it's supposed to be. Now we bring fast forward to the lady who says, oh, I had a magical moment that woke me up. And when I say amygdala, I should actually say amygdalas. It's behind our ears, each times two. And I think they're there for a reason. I think they pick up sensitivity, vibration while we're sleeping, because I state the amygdala never sleeps. The brain may rest, but the amygdala never sleeps. It may dial back on some of its processes and say, okay, now I'm going to set it to alert. I say it gets senses from the nose at that point. So if it was to smell fire in the middle of the night, it wakes the brain up. But the amygdala gets it first, not the smoke goes here and then the brain says, that's smoke, let me process it, it shouldn't be smoke. You were asleep, but the brain is not sleeping. The amygdala is not sleeping, it's picking up vibrations. When that lady sprung up, said that she felt like it was something weird, it woke her from her sleep. The amygdala is right by her ears, not by mistake. A little vibration happens, the amygdala says, alert the brain, wake it up. Wake it up to get data. Wake it up and get data. It processes, it starts going looking for the data. In fact, you can have fun with your spouse or girlfriend. You can go into one end of the room while he or she is sleeping and drop a book on the floor. The person will wake up and look directly at you where you are. How did it know to look there? It was dead. The person was dead asleep. But yet, you bang the noise over here and the bed's over here. the person will look right here. That's because the amygdala is never sleeping. It's able to process that. It knows where to look for that look, where that sound is. It may wake you up in the middle of the night and start processing all the noises, saying, what could have been that, what could have that noise have been? And then it says, oh, yeah, that's the dog. It just knocked over something. And then it tells you, it's okay, conclusive file, it's okay. You can rest again, go back to sleep. So that's how simple the amygdala is. There's a lot more to this. But this, if you can extrapolate this into all parts of your life, you'll see why you road rage. You have no choice on this either. I'm sorry, I should have made it clear. Amygdala is petty. You have no choice but to fight back when someone gives you a opposite to your conclusive file, unless you open it, unless you give permission. So you have to give permission to permission. This means that you, as say a doctor, went to ask for another opinion based on this data. You gave permission to give a new conclusive file, or maybe you didn't. Or maybe they give you a conclusive file and you say, you know what, no, that doesn't match the data. You're about as far off as a Christmas tree in the summertime. So so you may look for it, and then we may look for the wrong people to give us the data, and we may not like their answer, so we move on. I've got 4 minutes to give you this beautiful one. So here is the cycle of stress and why you can't put things in a closed box. Okay, I'm gonna go way over here. So you have an answer. The amygdala is always protecting you. If it has an answer it doesn't like, if it doesn't like the results, the answer, it's going to protect you. It's going to say, run the data again. It's going to run the data. Dead loved one, this the reason, this. The end result is death. The death is painful. You don't like the results. The amygdala is going to protect you. It's going to say, run the data again. It runs the data, it's going to be very honest, it's going to come with the same answer again. You're not going to like the answer, it's going to say run the data, and this is where you get into your loop back. Your loop back, your crisis. This is your crisis right there, because you didn't like the answer. For example, medical field, the patient died, they may keep running the data over and over again. That is not going to help. It's going to just put you in this crisis mode where you're just going to keep going over and over again, traumatizing yourself. Same thing, it creates the PTSD. This can be done with anything. You don't need military background to have this PTSD issue. This is you just cycling the same data, coming to the same answer, your amygdala protecting you because it didn't like the answer, saying run the data again. Alright. Sometimes we have to put this shit in a shoebox. When it does that, when you have that answer that comes there 6 times, and it's the same damn answer, you put it in a box, you lock it up, and you never open it again. If it ever opens, you slam the lid back on it, lock it back up. You've already run it. It's not going to change. It's already been run. It's not going to change. If you open it for fun. If you're stuck with opening it and going, oh well, I still love the person, I don't have to put the entire person in the shoebox, for example, a loved one, or an event. You don't have to put the entire person in the shoebox. You can put, the bad part in the shoebox if you want. Or you can put the whole thing in the shoebox, and that will be the same, and with the same result of protecting you as the human. Again, so it's your intent, your preconceived ideas are your problems, those are your biases. You must always be able to flex. This is what you must be able to change, your conclusive files. This, once you're under attack, the amygdala is a petty bitch, it's going to fight back. So that's why you see me tell people off. I'm not fighting my amygdala, I'm not holding that in. They say you hold it in and you explode. That's right. Don't hold that shit in. If someone did you ugly, do them ugly back. They felt entitled to do you wrong. You are also entitled to do them wrong. It's no, I'll take the high road. If you do that, you're gonna have a pressure cooker pot. You're gonna try to share it with your loved one. They don't need that stress. That's your problem. You handle it. You handle that. Some people are narcissists. They enjoy the pain inflicted, so they get off on it. Without the pain, they get with the fuel, right? They can't get it. Timer looks like it's out. So that's the end of that video, I think. Yeah. So some people are narcissistic, and they don't care. They don't care about your pain. Now, I will tell you this. Narcissists have true empathy. They have 100% empathy. But it's all for themselves. It's for no one else. Unless that person somehow, they had a conclusive file that they own that person and they want to protect that person.